Hello, my name is Josh Gordon from Columbia University, and I'm going to show you how to build your brain out of Play-Doh. We're going to start with the brainstem. The brainstem serves as a conduit between the brain and the rest of the body through the spinal cord. The medulla is the lowest part of the brain. The medulla has many nuclei that serve the nerves leading to the head, also known as cranial nerve nuclei. Immediately above it is the pons. The pons similarly has cranial nerve nuclei that observe things like hearing. Above the pons is the midbrain. The midbrain has many connections with the cortex above and the cerebellum behind, as we're about to see. Sitting on top of the midbrain are the two thalami, the thalamus on either side. The thalamus sends information from sensory nerves coming up from the body and supplies input to major regions of the cortex. Sitting right behind the thalamus is the cerebellum. The cerebellum does important things such as motor learning and coordinating movements. Immediately in front and below the thalamus is the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus controls many bodily functions, such as regulating stress levels and making sure that your body runs smoothly. It does this through the pituitary, a small region at the tip of the hypothalamus that sends hormones circulating throughout the bloodstream. Now, around and outside the thalamus are a structure on either side called the hippocampus, which of course is important for memory as well as emotion regulation. The hippocampus actually sits a little bit away from the thalamus, but since Play-Doh won't stick in thin air, we'll just put it right on top. Switch over and putting the other hippocampus on the other side. And the hippocampus output through the fornix is together along the midline, so we squeeze them together. So we have the brainstem, the cerebellum behind, the thalamus, the hippocampus, and the hypothalamus in front. Sitting right on top of the hippocampus is the amygdala, one on either side. The amygdala is important for emotional learning and emotional expression. Now, on top of this whole thing lies the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex has two halves that need to communicate with each other, and so it uses a structure called the corpus callosum to do that. The corpus callosum is a web of fibers going from one side to the other, but along the midline it forms a nice little semicircular structure. And on top is the cerebral cortex. The cortex has 4 lobes on either side. The frontal lobe, which has functions like executive functioning, planning, and working memory, is the part that really makes us human. The other 3 lobes are the temporal lobe, which covers over the hippocampus and the amygdala, and which is important for hearing, for visual categorization of objects, as well as memory. The occipital lobe in the back, which is where we process most visual information, and the parietal lobe in the middle, which has both motor output through the spinal cord to the muscles, as well as functions such as attention. And we'll just make sure that each side has the same 3 lobes of the cortex covering over all the subcortical structures. So there you have it, more or less, a model of the brain, the brainstem, cerebellum picking out behind, the 4 lobes of cortex covering up subcortical structures such as the hippocampus, amygdala, and thalamus.